Sports Desk, brought to you by Weiser Locks. Quality locks made for Canadians by Canadians.
You're watching TSN, the Sports Network, your #1 source for sport news. The color purple. What CIAU football team immediately comes to mind? A 6-0 record. That should make the picture clearer. How about the color purple? A 6-0 record and a #2 national ranking. It has to be the University of Western Ontario Mustangs, right? Wrong. It's the Bishops University Gators. Tucked away in the eastern townships of Quebec, this tiny university is home to a football powerhouse. It is here that head coach Ian Brecht has assembled a team that has won 24 games over the last 5 years. They're 6-0. They're in first place. They're ranked #2, and they've got Vanier Cup vision. TSN presents CIAU football. Today's game from Lennoxville between Concordia and Bishops is brought to you in part by Geo. Get to know Geo at a Chevrolet Geo dealer near you. And by Pepsi. Gotta have it. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Lennoxville, Quebec, the home of Bishops University, a team looking to win its 4th conference title in 5 years. A football powerhouse, though, that has never been to the Vanier Cup. They think this year they've got a team good enough to do it. And this afternoon, they close out their regular season against the Concordia Stingers, a team which must win this game today to get into the playoffs. Bishops looking to go 7-0, but Concordia must win or tie today, or the season ends here this afternoon. And joining us here in Lennoxville is Jamie Bowen. It's always sunny here in Lennoxville, Jamie, especially when you show up. Tell us a little bit about this Bishops team. Good enough to win the Vanier Cup?
Yeah, I think Bishops are good enough to win the Vanier Cup, or at least get there. But they're up against a pretty strong Concordia football team as well. And defensively, Concordia, they have the best pass defense in the OQIFC. They're going to have to play stellar today because they're up against the best offense in the OQIFC and the Bishops Gators. And Bishops, you know, many people thought when Silvio Martel left, their all-Canadian quarterback a year ago, that he would be hard to replace, but they have a man in the wings by the name of Jim Murphy, and many people think he is the best quarterback in the CIAU this year, over 1,500 yards passing, 11 touchdowns. He is a part of that offense that throws the ball all the time. Now, he likes to throw the ball outside and inside. Look for him to throw outside to Tom Hart. Tom Hart is the veteran receiver in this football team, 311 yards, 19 receptions. He'll go inside, he'll go outside, they'll take him deep. He has great hands. Now, when Bishops want to go inside, they're going to look to Masaki Kono. He wasn't really a big part of the offense a year ago, but this year he's a huge part. 25 receptions, 400 yards. They throw the ball to him inside. Look for him to have a big game today.
Now, we saw Concordia earlier this year trailing McGill by 2 touchdowns late in the game. They won that football game thanks to one man, the man that Concordia looks to today.
Well, their quarterback, Andy Peterkin, is going to have a big day for them on offense if Concordia hope to beat Bishops and control their destiny and get into the playoffs. Andy Peterkin has not had a great year in terms of passing percentage, only a 38% passer, but one of the dimensions he adds to this football team is that he can get out of pressure, he can get out of problems, he can run with the football, he can throw, he has great poise. He's going to have to show great poise today in the front of this Bishops defense.
All right, now in the prediction department, you're 5-1, I'm 4-2. Who are you picking today?
Well, I got to go with the home team, the Bishop's Gators. I think they're a little too powerful.
Well, I picked Bishops to win the Vanier Cup this year, so I guess I'll stick with them as well. And over the course of today, we might just find out what exactly a Gator is. So I'll take the umbrella, we'll head upstairs, and we'll see you in a couple of minutes as Bishops and Concordia kick it off next.
An inside receiver.
Everybody's different. Different looks, different tastes, different lifestyles. That's why Geo offers you a choice, like the import-inspired Geo Metro, Geo Storm, and Geo Tracker. So pick your favorite and get to know Geo right around the corner at your Chevrolet Geo dealers.
Last summer, only one movie soared above the rest. Now, bring home the bat.
What do you want?
The cat.
Harry roar.
And the penguin.
Gotta fly!
Batman returns at an affordable low price wherever video is sold.
Midas will look at your brakes 49 different ways, free. Then we'll give you a guaranteed estimate and a certified brake specialist to fix them right. The free 49-point brake inspection. 49 reasons to trust your brakes to Midas.
If you're between 50 and 75, Norwich Union will insure you for life with no medical exam or health questions.
Even with my heart condition, I didn't need a medical to be insured.
And they didn't ask us any health questions.
Your guaranteed life insurance can cost as little as $20 a month. Depending on your age and the premium you choose, you could be covered for up to $25,000. And in case of a fatal accident, your benefit triples up to $75,000.
With the guaranteed life insurance plan, I'll have the affordable protection I need, and my premiums will never go up.
Call this number now for your free personal enrollment kit. You're under no obligation, and no salesperson will visit. If you're between 50 and 75, you're automatically approved with no medical exam. Just call 1-800-263-9899. An operator is standing by to take your call now. That's 1-800-263-9899. Ask for operator 403.
If your family loves the taste of ripe, juicy fruit, make a little magic with McCain Fruit Punch. McCain makes frozen punch from real concentrated fruit juice, so you can really taste the fruit. Great with grapes. Outstanding with orange. McCain Punch, frozen and now ready to drink. You can taste the quality because you can taste the fruit.
Welcome back to Lennoxville. The Gators will try to complete an undefeated regular season. But to do it, they'll have to beat a Concordia team that has won in its last 3 trips to this town. It is a rainy day in Lennoxville, as it always seems to be when Jamie Bone shows up. And there to kick it off for the Concordia Stingers in white is Paul Geary. His team faces an uphill struggle today against a team that many think is primed to make its first Vanier Cup appearance.
Now, Gord, look for a couple of things from Bishops right off the bat. They like to run lightning offense. They want to get into this game early.
Kickoff is taken by Alain Baudouin. Across the 30 and forced out at about the 34-yard line. Tackled by Sean Timmons. And that is where the Bishops University offense will start, with Jim Murphy at the controls.
Many people think he's the best quarterback in the CIU. Took over from Silvio Martel, the All-Canadian quarterback, in 1991. Jim Murphy in the shadow of Silvio for 3 years, but now he's getting his chance to start and making the best of it.
This is a pass-oriented football team, and many wonder if it can hold up under the tough weather conditions that are coming in late October and early November. They fake the toss. Flag is down, and Murphy has lots of room. Throwing deep right away, looking for Alain Baudouin. The pass is a little too far, so right away, Jamie, Bishops comes out looking for the home run.
Well, that's Ian Breck. He says we pass, and then when we get into trouble, we pass some more. He likes to throw the football, doesn't think that running the football is the way to go, especially if you're a team that falls behind. Says the only way to get back into it is to throw the football, and that's been Ian Breck's philosophy since he took over the Bishops Gators 5 years ago.
Bishops, 84, decline, will be second down.
Ron Paluzzi is the referee today, and he comes up with a call. Alain Baudouin, the intended receiver on that play, was offside. The penalty is declined at 2nd and 10 from the 34. Looking over the middle again for Baudouin. He got one handle of the pass, but not enough. And so Bishop goes 2 and out. And Jamie, you mentioned this Concordia defense, #1 in the conference against the pass.
They are #1 against the pass. And Pat Sheehan before today's game said we're going to throw all sorts of different looks for Jim Murphy. And you can see that Jim Murphy is throwing the ball downfield, but there are 3 Concordia Stingers in the coverage. He said we're going to try and confuse Jim Murphy, throw all sorts of different looks at him on the defensive secondary, and try and get some turnovers.
Greg Hiscox with his first punt of the day. And it is fielded there by Rob Schwartz. Schwartz is stacked up immediately. Brian Wardrop in to make the stop, but Concordia will have excellent field position for Andy Peterkin to start with. 1st and 10 from about the 53-yard line.
And Pat Sheehan said he had his best week of practice since he's been with the Concordia Stingers. This is his first year with Concordia. Played junior football for the Chateauguay Raiders. And we saw him with some heroics in our McGill-Concordia game. The last minute, he threw a touchdown pass, which enabled Concordia to win 25-24.
Peterkin to run. Across midfield, he gets to about the Bishop's 53-yard line. And Peterkin lines up with some impressive beef in the backfield.
Some impressive beef in the backfield, but Peterkin is still the leading ball carrier. Ciamaro, Master Domenico, McClellan, Cargadile, Bo Duke, and Joyelle is their best receiver at tight end. Offensive line pretty big on the right side. Marquette Allen, Veneris, Morandi, and Filosa. They'll be running more to the right today.
The gain was 5, make it 2nd and 5 from the 53 of the Bishop's University Gators. Peterkin lost his footing. Now under pressure, he throws to the sideline, and a great defensive play there is made by Tom Europe. Europe knocks it away. It was intended for Andre Bolduc. And Tom Europe is a man many think is headed for the CFL.
I think he's one of the best players in the CIU. 4 interceptions already this season as Peterkin's running outside. Now he's getting some pressure from Eric Edwards, number 92. But Tom Europe, he plays that perfectly. And you have to take a look at this Bishop's defensive backfield as well. They've had 19 interceptions between them. But what's more remarkable is that they've returned 19 of those interceptions. 5 of them have been for touchdowns.
And the snap is mishandled by Paul Geary. Geary gets away from one man, another, and gets a low driving punt away that is finally taken by Concordia. There are flags down. The Stingers feel they have the ball, but I think no yards will be the call against Concordia.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the call, Gord. You can tell this.
Flag on the play.
Shades of the game we saw between Concordia and McGill earlier this year when there were 4 mistakes on special teams early that decided the scores. And we'll get the call from Ron Paluzzi.
No yards. Concordia, 46 and 20. First down.
It's a little wet out today, and Paul Geary has to go up high and try and get the football that sneaks through. Now, this is actually a pretty good job to get away here. Keep his head and try and kick the ball downfield. Kickers don't like to be in those kind of situations, Gord.
No wonder. The penalty gives Bishops a first down in Concordia territory at the 54-yard line. First handoff of the game goes to Claude Seren, and Seren's got about 6 as he gets across the 50. Claude Seren has missed the last 4 games for the Bishop's Gators with a Charlie horse problem, but he's back just in time for the end of the regular season and the playoffs.
Murphy, of course, one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. McCarthy, Serene, Butler, Baudouin, Kono, Hart. Look for all those receivers to be very active in today's football game.
The game was 5 at 2nd and 5.
Black 51 Dallas.
To draw play. And Seren has the first down and a bunch more. Up the sideline, he's finally tackled by Luke Pellin, but not before he's got a gain of about 20 yards.
And Gord, you could hear everybody on the Concordia defense. They were saying, draw, draw, watch the draw. To no avail, Serene looks to the right like he's going to set up the pass block, and then Jim Murphy hands him the football. Nice move to go outside. He almost lost the ball there.
It was a gain of 17 yards, first down. They fake the draw play. Swing it to the outside looking for Mike McCarthy, but McCarthy had slipped on the loose turf and the pass goes incomplete.
Pretty good offensive line. Hatfield, Boje, Doucette, Zabo, and Bjorn. Pretty good pass protectors.
The difficulty for Bishops may come in the next few weeks. This field was turned into a quagmire last year in a game against Queens, and the Gators are looking at the possibility of playing on this field in 3 consecutive weeks, and it could be a mud bowl before this day is done. 2nd and 10 from the 30-yard line.
Red, $51.
Again, they fake the draw play, looking deep down the sidelines for Tom Hart, and Hart has it knocked away at the last moment. A great defensive play made there by Spiros Ferraduras. But we see Bishop's gunslinging right away in the first quarter of this football
that's
game.
Bishop's identity. Go after you right away, and Tommy Hart has a step on Ferraduras. Ferraduras at the last moment tries to get up and pull the arm away from Tommy Hart so that he cannot catch the football in the end zone.
Jim Murphy has not yet completed a pass in this football game.
Time out on the field, injured Concordia player.
And there is an injured Concordia Stinger on the field as the fans huddle for some dryness here. And Jamie, while we have a moment to talk about this as they take a look at Spiros Ferraduras, can Bishops continue to run this pass-oriented offense in the kind of weather they're likely to face in the next few weeks?
Well, I think when you get a day like today where it's misty right now and had a little bit of rain, I think wind is a greater factor than actually the rain, because the officials can keep the balls dry, but it's the wind that kills you. And you know, this time of the year when you get into late October, early November, you can get those strong north winds blowing here, and it can be pretty difficult. Now, Concordia and Bishops played earlier this season up in Montreal. Score pretty lopsided, 46-9 for Bishops in that game, but nevertheless, such a windy day that all the points were scored in one end.
Here's the TSN Sun coaches poll for this week. St. Mary's tops the list this week at number 1. Bishops is second. And the University of Toronto, which suffered its first loss, has dropped to number 4. So the folks in Halifax will be happy to see the Huskies are the number 1 team as the regular season winds down. 2 undefeated schools left in the CIAU. And we are seeing one of them today. Spiros Ferraduras makes his way to the sidelines, and Greg Hiscox is on to attempt a 38-yard field goal.
Hiscox 13 of 22 in field goal attempts this year, as long as 41 yards, so well within his distance.
Lots of distance, and it is good. So the Gators have hit the board first. It is 3-0 Bishops in a drizzle in Lennoxville.
Before you vote on October 26th, take a look at the entire Charlottetown Agreement. What it proposes are commitments to a new social and economic union, self-government for Aboriginal peoples, Senate reform, a rebalancing of government roles and responsibilities, a distinct society clause for Quebec. It's your right to be informed. It's important for you and for your country.
Hey, it's always great when these two get together. The Eskimos and Stampeders are meeting today later on TSN. Note the change in the start time, 4 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Mountain. That has been done so the fans can get home and check out a baseball game that'll be played a little later on today. So it's the Eskimos in Calgary. John Wells, Leif Pedersen, and Peter Watts will have the action for you here on TSN. 1st and 10 for the Concordia Stingers from the 35-yard line. They trail by a score of 3-0, and here is Dio Mastro Domenico with his first carry of the ball game, and he didn't get much. And he's tackled by Brian Wardrop, the outstanding linebacker for Bishops.
Yeah, I think Brian Wardrop is a great linebacker. Now, he had to fill in for Ray Bernard, the All-Canadian last year and the President's Trophy Award winner for the most outstanding stand-up defensive player. Eric Edwards, of course, the other inside linebacker, very experienced as well in his 5th year.
It was a gain of 1. We'll call it 2nd and 9. Peterkin brings it down, is almost brought down himself, but he gets away. A great move by Peterkin to get it away, and then he looks for Andre Bolduc, but Bolduc can't squeeze it. But we see the elusiveness of Peterkin. very early in the football game.
Well, that's the kind of dimension that he brings to this Concordia football team. I mean, a very exciting player because, I mean, literally, he is not down until his knee touches the ground. This guy can get out of all sorts of difficult situations. What he needs is a little bit of help from his receivers. We saw in the McGill-Concordia game earlier this season, he had a lot of them dropped, and he had another one drop there as well. They're going to have to start holding on to the football when he manages to find that open receiver.
And speaking of holding on to the football, Paul Geary will be hoping to do that this time. The snap is good, and Geary gets a high spiraling punt away. Taken there by Matt Legg. Legg has it go over his head, and he fields it back at the 10. Looking for room up the sidelines. He's tackled there by Giovanni Petrella. And the pressure is on the Concordia defense, which gave up a field goal in Bishop's second possession.
And a pretty good group. Chester, Petrella, Lavallee, a defensive line, McDonald, Palan. Thibodeau is their best linebacker, and Pat Gwyndon, outside linebacker number 4. Defensive backfield, the best in the OQIFC, Ferraduras, Locke, Forche, McCullough, and Schwartz at the corner.
We saw Spiros Ferraduras leave the game on the last series, and he has not yet returned. First and 10 from the 26-yard line.
Somehow or other it'll do.
And Murphy's going for the home run ball again. Looking for Tom Hart, and again the pass is just a little too far. Boy, they're bombing here, Jamie.
Well, this is Bishop's identity. Tom Hart split to wide right. They move Gary Locke out to the corner spot to replace Ferraduras, and Tom Hart runs by, and the ball just a little bit too far for Tom Hart.
Gary Locke was back there on the coverage for Concordia. On 2nd and 10 from the 26, and there's Spiros Ferraduras, who assures us that he will be back. And his football team needs him.
Cover two, middle's wide open.
Murphy rolling to his left, had a man open for a second, now he'll run it, but he stopped short of the first down as he is tackled there by the outside linebacker, Giovanni Petrella.
Pat Sheehan said he wanted to throw a lot of different looks in front of Jim Murphy, and he certainly is doing a pretty good job right now. The receiver that Murphy's looking at downfield is covered by 2 people. That's not the kind of situation he wants. He wants one-on-one coverage. Does the smart thing. Don't force anything. Just take the ball up the field, get as much yardage as you can.
The ball is spotted just across the 35-yard line. It looks like they're about a yard short. And Ian Breck will have a decision to make about whether or not he wants to go for it.
Gain of, I think, 10 yards and an inch on the play.
And I think they're a little short here, Jamie.
I'm down. Ready. Good, short.
Oh.
Third down.
We're on fire this year, Jamie. I think that's short enough that they'll go for it.
Well, we get our first big gamble of the football game right now, and especially with this kind of field condition. When you have offensive line, they don't get that same kind of footing that they would get on a dry field.
So the Gators go gambling. 7.5 minutes to play here in the first quarter. Bishop's leading 3-0. And the first problem they have is getting the chain gang in the right spot. They seem to have got that sorted out. The ball sits in the water for just a little longer, and now on 3rd and less than 6 inches, Murphy carries, and I think he has it, but it should be close. It is indeed a first down for the Gators, who will retain possession.
Number 56, Gaston Thibodeau with the stop on the other side of the first down.
Safest play in football, and it should be the quarterback sneak. Anytime you have less than a yard to go, the quarterback should carry it. And Jim Murphy does that and gets the first down.
But in this passing offense, Jim Murphy is 0 for 5 to start the game. And there's his first completion to Mike McCarthy. McCarthy is brought down immediately by Pat Gwyndon, the linebacker out there on the coverage, but not before he has a gain of close to 10 yards.
And that's one thing Bishops will do, Gord. They like to get their backs involved into the passing game, especially Mike McCarthy, number 22. They just leak him out into the flat, and Jim Murphy makes the proper decision. There's coverage downfield. He finds the open man. McCarthy gets his shoulders square upfield and tries to get close to the first down.
And again, we will have a measurement as he was close to getting 10 yards. They really do spread it around in the passing game, though, for this Bishop's University team, and I guess that's the sign of a quarterback who can read defense as well.
All proceeds from the poster sales are going towards the MS.
And again, they're short by inches.
Remember the victory they won against MS.
This is a big weekend in CIAU football. Let's tell you about some of the other games that are being played this weekend. The #1 team in the nation, St. Mary's, leading Acadia 14-1 at the half. And that should come as no great surprise. We saw St. Mary's demolish Mount Allison last week.
Now this is a situation, Gore, where Bishops love to run play action pass and throw the ball deep. This is really a free play for them because they'll go for it on 3rd down.
So on 2nd and short, the focus is up front. The kick goes to Mike McCarthy, and McCarthy has the first down and a whole lot more, a gain of about 6 as he gets close to midfield.
This is so unlike any Bishops team that I've seen, where they're running the football and getting first downs doing it. They've only had 1 pass completion so far today. Jim Murphy handing off to Mike McCarthy out of Brampton.
No relation to the Argo general manager, we understand. Now Murphy rolling to his right again, looking deep. Looking for Masaki Kono, but there were 2 Concordia defenders all over him. One of them was Mark Fortier, the safety. As Ian Breck takes a look at that game plan, see anything you recognize, Jamie?
No, he's got a different ready chart. They use different terminology, but nevertheless, I can bet you it's going to be in the air. Concordia doing a pretty good job right now because they're forcing Jim Murphy to throw the passes into players that are double covered right now, and that's something Jim Murphy does not want to do. He's trying to figure out what they're doing here on defense, but they're throwing so many different looks at him right now that he really hasn't been able to see things maybe more than once or twice.
On 2nd and 10 from the 53, Murphy has a man wide open in the flat. Making the catch is Claude Seren, but Seren lost his footing on this slick grass surface, and he is about 2 yards short of the first down.
Watch Jim Murphy look to the right first. He's looking to the right, and there's nothing there. There's nothing there. He comes back now to Claude Seren. And Seren catches the ball, as you said, he loses his footing, but this is a sign of a good quarterback. He's going through 1, 2, 3. This is probably his 4th read to come backside. Some young quarterbacks, if you can get him to make 2 reads, it's quite an achievement. Jim Murphy's been able to make 4.
So Greg Hiscox is in to punt. He'll get this away from just shy of his own 50-yard line. As he angles it towards the sideline, it's fielded there by Rob Schwartz. And Schwartz is knocked out of bounds by Jim Georgitsos. But Concordia gets the ball back as the Stingers trail by 3.
Number 92, Eric Edwards with the tackle, first down.
Everybody's different. Different looks, different tastes, different lifestyles. That's why Geo offers you a choice. Like the import-inspired Geo Metro, Geo Storm, and Geo Tracker. So pick your favorite and get to know Geo right around the corner at your Chevrolet Geo dealers.
Welcome back to Lennoxville, Quebec, home of the Bishops University Gators. Bishops, a school of about 1,700 students here in the townships of Quebec. You and I went to bigger high schools, Jamie. But we didn't have better high school football teams, I can guarantee you that.
That's for sure.
Andy Peterkin's been on the run most of the day, and now he tries to get his team back in the football game, down 3-0. Toss play to Mastro Domenico, but Domenico is brought down by Jim Gooby and Joel Kruzik. And with all the pass-happy offense, it's easy to overlook a pretty good Bishops defense.
They have one of the best defenses in the country. Rowe, Bohink, Connery, and Dagg. The linebackers, an outstanding group. They always have great linebackers here. Wardrop, Edwards, and Dollaroe. And one of the best backfields, Tom Europe, who I think is one of the best players in the nation. Legg, Grant, Gooby, and Pepin.
The gain was about 3. We'll call it 2nd and 7. Peterkin's been under pressure throughout the football game. This time, with time to throw, He was looking over there for Uzo Ubani, but the pass was too far. Matt Lang was there with the coverage.
And I tell you what, Bishops are heating it up right now. They're coming with their linebackers, Eric Edwards, and they even brought the inside halfback, John Gooby, on the blitz to put pressure on Andy Peterkin. But this has been the situation. 92 comes up here, number 11 on the left of your screen, trying to put pressure on Peterkin. Gets the ball off. This has been the kind of situation that has plagued Concordia all year long. Receivers not being able to come down with the big receptions. That's a tough one. But nevertheless, those are the kind that you need if you're going to be successful.
Geary's last punt went 60 yards. This time it's end over end, taken by Joel Kruzic at the 46. Kruzic gets a block, gets outside. But he can't quite get upfield as he is brought down on the play by number 24, Marco Chamorro. But a flag is down on the play, and I think Geary might have been rough on the play.
Contacting the kicker called against the Gators.
And the indications are it is against Bishops. It'll be a first down for the Concordia Stingers. Paul Geary's had a day so far.
Well, I'll tell you what, he doesn't mind taking that one, though, because that helps his team. Big break for Concordia.
Bishop, number 1, contacting the kicker. Ejectable conduct on the bench. The first down.
Well, tack that on as well. Tom Europe was called for contacting the kicker.
Paul Geary going through his motion.
First down Concordia from their own 51.
Now that's really tough. I guess the official felt that he was not blocked into Geary. Now he just went to the wrong mesh point and then rolled underneath the kicker while his leg was still in the air. It's a good call.
And tack on objectionable conduct. It's 1st and 10 for Concordia from the 46. Michael Paul, the ball carrier for the Concordia Stingers, and it's going to be a long, dirty day for players on both sides. The gain for Michael Paul was 5, make it 2nd and 5, just inside Bishop's territory at the 54. And so far, Bishops has had more problems with the footing than Concordia has. Peterkin on 2nd and 5. Pressure now, gets away from it. Nice move, gets across the 40 to the 45. That'll be a first down as Peterkin is brought down by Jim Gooby, but not before he gets another first down for Concordia.
Well, we talked about Bishops wanting to play man coverage and come with a lot of pressure and bring their linebackers. This is what a quarterback that has very good feet can do for you. Peterkin gets back, linebacker busts through. You can see Wardrop there, number 44. Now he takes off with it. The secondary's in man coverage, so they've got to leave their men now and come back and tackle the quarterback.
1st and 10 from the 46, under 3 minutes to play in the first quarter. And the carry goes to Michael Paul. He's tackled on the play by Eric Edwards. Another gain of about 5 yards. And the rain has slacked off a little bit, but the field is very, very moist. We'll call it a gain of 4, make it 2nd and 6 from the 42-yard line.
2nd down.
Peterkin under pressure, a flag is down, he dumps it off to the flat. It's incomplete for Uzo Ubani, but we'll see what the call is all about. It is holding against Concordia. And we hear the Bishops coach is advising them to push them back, perhaps out of field goal range. And it will go back.
Kind of surprised by that. That would bring up 3rd down.
2nd down repeated.
They would get the ball, but it shows you what kind of confidence that Ian Breck has in his defense. He feels that now Peterkin's going to have to throw the ball. If he wants to get the first down, he's going to have to throw it deep. And they picked off 19 passes so far this year. Maybe they're looking at getting another one.
Now on 2nd and 17 from the 52-yard line. Under 2 minutes to play now in the first quarter. Peterkin screens it off. Got it over there to Matthew Carlisle, but Carlisle is dropped in his tracks by John Gooby. That didn't fool anybody.
No, it didn't fool John Gooby, that's for sure. John Gooby out of Fredericton High School, played with the Black Cats. Now he's spying Matthew Carlisle. Carlisle's a tight end on the right. He tries to block and then he flows outside, but Gooby's got him in man coverage and he comes up and makes a great tackle.
So Geary will kick it away again. Remember, he was rough the last time he got it away. Here's a wobbly punt taken by Tom Europe at the 15. And Europe gets outside, across midfield. He's finally brought down there by Mark Fortier. Flags are down. It might be face masking against Concordia, which will add to a huge return by Tom Europe. Lots to cheer about for Bishop fans so far in Lennoxville.
Imagine visiting yourself in the future.
Wow, look who's here. I know you. Sure do. I'm you 25 years later. What am I doing here? We spend our winters here. Did we win the lottery? No lottery. Freedom 55.
Only your London Life representative offers Freedom 55. Protection today, plus a financial plan that works, so one day you won't have to.
And when did we start driving convertibles? About the same time we started surfing. Surfing?
Ian Breck decides to get Tom Europe in the backfield now, returning punts and not going after the punter, and what a great decision it was. Tom Europe takes it on the fly, heads down the sidelines, and then a face mask by number 2, Mark Fortier. See, he gets his left hand on the inside of the mask and brings down Tom Europe. The referee throws the flag, and Bishops have excellent field position.
One thing that would really help Tom Europe's CFL prospects would be for him to become a top-flight punt returner. Then you're looking at a guy who's a blue-chip draft prospect.
Well, he certainly showed evidence of that right there, Gord. I mean, that was a nice move to get down the sideline, and especially in these kind of field conditions.
Tack on the penalty, and it is a first down for Bishops at the 35-yard line.
Go Murphy, go Murph!
It's a draw play to Claude Seren. And Seren fights his way for good yardage down to about the 29-yard line.
Number 73, Paul Chesser.
And the addition of Seren to this lineup again for Bishops will really help.
Take a look at the right guard, number 60, Joey Sabo. He peels around. Actually, Kai Bourne blocks down. Joey Sabo goes outside, and then Claude Seren follows the block, gets up the field.
Gain of 6 at 2nd and 4. Pass is complete to David Butler. And Butler fights hard. The ball comes loose, but it is called down. Rob Schwartz was there to make the tackle. He'll be close to the first down. It is a first down for Bishops.
Brought down by number 5, Rob Schwartz. First down, Gators. Hi-ho!
David Butler's been quiet most of the first quarter, but this is the kind of receiver he is, a possession receiver. This is 21st reception of the year. Rob Schwartz brings him down, but no fumble because the ground caused the ball to pop out.
Great catch over there by David Butler. Butler's ridden out of bounds by Rob Schwartz, but what a grab of a wet football.
This is the kind of situation that Jim Murphy wants. One-on-one coverage against a secondary. He's looking inside, then he goes out to David Butler. Great catch.
Bishops Gators 3. Concordia Stingers.
Hands are just like glue. Nice job to knife up the field as well. Try and get up the field.
So it'll be good field position for the Bishops Gators. They lead 3-0. That's the end of the first quarter. We'll return to Lennoxville in a moment.
Rocket Fuel.
Play Rocket Fuel Touchdown, and you could win up to $25,000.
With brighter colors and sharper contrast, Sony Trinitron's exclusive one-gun picture tube catches all the action. Sony, the best picture on the mound.
Getting to know
I drove literally every car in the same class, and it boiled down to I wanted a Geostorm.
It makes me feel really good knowing I have a driver's side airbag.
There's 140 horses in here. Can you... Hello?
Horses.
You don't have to be a race car driver to drive a Storm, but you sure feel like one.
Get to know the new 140 horsepower Geostorm GSI right around the corner at your Chevrolet Geo dealers.
If this car had wings, it would fly.
I'm just a love machine, and I won't work for nobody but you. I'm just a love machine.
Duracell. You can't talk the copper talk.
A reminder to stay tuned following this game for the CFL Game of the Week. The Edmonton Eskimos and Calgary Stampeders in the showdown for first place in the Western Division. The start time has been moved. 4 o'clock Eastern Time, 2 o'clock Mountain from McMahon Stadium in Calgary. And the Bishops Gators have the ball deep in Concordia territory. Second and about 3 from the 15-yard line. All of this set up by a 50-yard punt return by Tom Europe. Seren fights his way down close to the 10-yard line, and he should have the first down. They spot it back closer to the 12-yard line, and he may come up short, Jamie. So another gambling situation perhaps for Ian Breck. But that part of the field hasn't seen much traffic. The middle of the field has already been chewed.
It'll be 3rd down and 2. All right, fans.
So they're gambling again. This time it is 3rd and 2. The give goes to Mike McCarthy. And McCarthy bashes his way to a first down for Bishops. They've really got the job done on the ground today, Jamie.
Yeah, kind of surprising. It really isn't Bishop's identity, but they're really pounding away at the defensive line. You can see the surge by the left part of that offensive line. Steve Bourget and Mark Hatfield doing a great job.
First and goal from the 10. Murphy running. Gets down to the 5.
Jim Murphy with the carry.
He's tripped up on the play by Paul Chesser.
Number 56, Gaston.
And also coming over to help out was Gaston Thibodeau.
Well, it shows you the kind of speed Gaston Thibodeau has, a linebacker, the gas man. He's been a OQIFC All-Star the last 2 seasons, 90 and 91. You can see why this kind of play that he makes, scraping across from his linebacker position and stopping what looked like a sure touchdown by Jim Murphy.
Murphy was tripped up at the 6-yard line. His 2nd and goal from the 6.
Concordia Defensive Player of the Year last year.
And now Concordia starts shifting players in and out, getting their goal line defense in. And this is a key series for the Concordia Stingers, who obviously don't want to fall behind 10-0 to the conference-leading Bishops Gators. What is a Gator, Jamie?
A Gator, I believe, Gord, is when I think the Bishops here at this university, Anglican University, when they used to go out on the weekends and they'd ride horses, they used to wrap this stocking around their lower part of their leg. Not that kind of stocking, but a stocking that was wrapped around, and they were called Gators, and conversely, Bishops Gators.
They're named after socks.
That's what they're named after.
2nd and goal from the 6. They fake the toss to Seren. Now rolling to the wide side of the end zone. Picked off. Intercepted by Gary Locke. A huge interception for the Concordia Stingers as the Bishops receiver had fallen, and the ball goes to Gary Locke.
Well, I'm not so sure, Gord, that it was necessarily Tom Hart falling down here, but when he gets back up, the receiver is behind that he was trying to throw to. I don't think he was trying to throw it to Tom Hart. Gary Locke was trying to throw it to L.M. Baudouin. And Gary Locke comes off of his man and steps in front and makes a huge interception for Concordia.
And Bishops is called for objectionable conduct for the 2nd time in the football game.
And that's so unlike Bishops University football teams coached by Ian Breck. He does not condone that kind of activity at all and doesn't like it. But nevertheless, Gary Locke comes up with a big interception for the Stingers.
The result is a first down for the Concordia Stingers from the 20-yard line. And going nowhere is running back Kevin Norris, and a great defensive play by the nose tackle Paul Connery.
They call him 007 here in the defensive line, Paul Connery. at a Brookfield High School in Ottawa. Very nice play at getting through the gap, getting into the backfield and making the tackle.
Down and 11, loss of 1
It was a
on the
loss of
play.
a yard in the play. It's 2nd and 11 from the 19-yard line. Concordia is working into a slight breeze here. Peterkin throwing. For Andre Bolduc, complete. He's brought down by Tom Europe, and he's short of the first down.
Number 12, Andre Bolduc. with
It'll be
pass
3rd and
number
about
1
3,
Tom
and
Europe,
taking
not
no
first down.
chances.
That'll be
Pat
3rd
Sheehan
down,
sends out the
Ian
punting
Bell.
unit.
You can see Andy Peterkin, all the kind of pressure that he has, everybody coming after him. Tom Europe steps in front, almost picks it off. Andre Bolduc coming down with a great reception, but it's a little bit short. He's got to take that route down a little bit further and then work his way back to the first down yard line. He can't go down 11 yards and turn back and get 8. He's got to go down about 14, turn around and get 11.
Paul Geary back to punt, his opposite number. Number 1, Tom Europe, took his last punt back 50 yards. Fielded there by Joel Kruzic. Kruzic reverses his field. The flag is down. And Kruzic has a couple as he gets across midfield. Ian Breck's team leads, but he might be a little concerned about their composure. We'll be right back.
Getting to know you.
I drove literally every car in the same class, and it boiled down to I wanted a Geostorm.
It makes me feel really good knowing I have a driver's side airbag.
There's 140 horses in here. Can you... Hello? Horses?
You don't have to be a race car driver to drive a Storm, but you sure feel like one.
Get to know the new 140 horsepower Geostorm GSI right around the corner at your Chevrolet Geo dealers.
If this car had wings, it would fly.
Well, we showed you the TSN Sun Coaches Poll of the CIU Top 10. Here's how the CIU itself sees Canadian Interuniversity football. St. Mary's number 1, as in our poll. Bishop's number 2. Toronto is 3rd in this ranking instead of 4th. There are some changes at the bottom, and UBC has fallen to 5-2 on the season. Jamie, you're surprised by that?
A little bit surprised, but they've been really hit by injuries. They lost their starting quarterback, Adrian Rainbow, and Vince Danielson is filling in, but nevertheless, UBC is going to clinch first place in the West, but nevertheless, they've been really decimated by injuries. It's really hurt them and has to be a concern to Frank Smith.
1st and 10 from the 46 for the Bishop's Gators. Turned away in their last drive by an interception in the end zone. And throwing again. Looking out there for Mike McCarthy, but the pass was behind him. McCarthy they call the money man, because when they need yardage or a first down, he's the guy they turn to.
Well, they've certainly gone to him today when they needed that first down yardage. Gord, they've thrown the ball to him a few times. They're trying to get the ball out to him now because he's the short receiver. You can see he slips because the ball's thrown a little bit behind him.
On 2nd and 10 from the 46. Murphy, lots of time. Over the middle, he has his man complete to Tom Hart. A huge gain down to the 43-yard line. Brought down by Damani Best, but not before Tom Hart has a first down and a gain of 19 yards.
Tom Hart working across the middle. Now, this is the kind of play when Jim Murphy goes back into the huddle and he tells his offensive line, hey, listen, that was your completion because you gave me all the time in the world. Now they're going into their lightning offense and not huddling anymore.
1st and 10 from the 44. He was looking there for Jonas Raymond, a pretty tall receiver, but not tall enough to haul that one in.
I think, Gord, actually, they had a fade on there. Jim Murphy was actually looking at Tommy Hart. Tommy Hart ran the square out. They just weren't on the same page. Because usually what will happen, they might have the square out call, but if the defensive back plays up within 5 yards, then the receiver automatically takes the fade. I think maybe Jim Murphy thought that he was within that 5-yard range and that Hart was going to take it up the field.
2nd down, 10 yards to go from the 44. Murphy dragged down from behind by Danny Lavallee. Lavallee shook off his block and brought Murphy down. He looked to be headed for first down yardage. Instead, it'll be a 3rd down situation for the Bishop's Gators. So again, the Concordia defense comes up big.
Actually, pretty good time here for Jim Murphy. Now he feels that, hey, the pocket's starting to close on me. I got to get out of there. Danny Lavallee comes in and makes his first sack of the season.
Number 12, Bolduc. 9, Best.
And into punt now is Greg Hiscox.
Man, right here.
So the Concordia D is keeping the Stingers' playoff hopes alive right now. Hiscock gets it away from midfield. End over end, it's taken by Damani Best. Best escaped one tackle. Now he's got outside. He's got a block. And he's finally tackled by Brian Wardrop, but not before he picked up about 20 yards. He ran about 60 to get it. Damani Best has his team in good field position.
Number 44, Brian Wardrop. Flag on the play.
Best gets outside to contain, but you know makes a nice play here for Bishops is Joel Kruzic. He gets outside leverage right here, and he forces him to cut back inside. You can see number 17 right there in your picture. He does not make the tackle, but he in fact makes the play here. Or that was gone for a long, long game.
It was a great return, but you know what? It was all for naught. Holding is the call against Concordia, and the Stingers will now start from their own 2-yard line.
They definitely don't want to be. 1st and 10 from their own.
So the Concordia Stingers have a long way to go. They trail 3-0 with just over 10 minutes to play now in the second quarter.
Might want to think about it, Coach.
Second down.
1st and 10 from the 3. Taking no chances, they toss it out to Kevin Norris, and Norris goes nowhere. In fact, he was very close to being dropped for a safety. And Tom Europe was up to make the stop.
You know, we've talked a lot about Concordia's defense, but Bishop's defense is #1 overall in the OQIFC. And you can see the reason why. They've got great linebackers in Edwards and Wardrop, and Edwards comes in there and almost makes a tackle in the end zone for a safety.
Tom Europe jumped up from his corner spot and put on the initial pressure. Norris was unable to get anywhere. Now it's 2nd and 11, pretty close to the 1-yard line. Not much room to work. Bouncing outside is Norris. And Norris has about 9 as he gets to the 10-yard line, but he'll be short of the first down by 4 yards. Tackled there by Joel Kruzic.
9-yard line. We're on the 9.
Let's go.
Number 17, Joel Cruz.
And you just heard it, they'll give up the safety.
That's a pretty smart idea as Kevin Norris takes the ball off tackle. Not quite enough to get to the first down. Guy really impresses me is Joel Kruzic, his safety, defensive back. He's actually the 6th defensive back, but in the scheme of things, he's in there quite a bit.
Defensive end was about 5 yards. Yeah, but bringing him with me, we're still running outside.
Well, he made the cutoff. He must have seen him.
Number 1, Paul Geary to kick back in for the Gators. Europe, Lane Kruzic.
And so not much suspense here. Paul Geary will take the snap and concede the safety. It's just like you're in the huddle. So it's now 5-0 for the Bishops Gators as Paul Geary concedes the safety.
And I think that was a good decision by Pat Sheehan.
Kick off. Something inside.
Kick off. Kick off.
Let's take a look. Jerry.
Coach Chris, send the play in.
Tell those guys to watch them.
They're watching.
They said the defensive end was out 5 yards.
John? I came.
Yeah.
What are they talking about, Jamie?
Well, he's trying to say that the defensive end is playing out. I think he's talking about the linebacker playing out 5 yards. He's saying it's tough to run outside because we can't really block him well. What we should be doing is running things off tackle where we can kind of block inside of the defensive tackle and then kick out.
35.
Okay. All right.
I mean, inside.
Heading back deep for the Gators, number 17, Joel Kruzic. Number 3, David Butler, and 84,
I think
Alan
we've set some
Bowman.
kind of record for safeties this year on CIAU football. We've seen plenty of them.
The difference is our offense right now. We haven't done nothing. Let's go.
Well, there it is. Couldn't have said it better myself, Pat. Geary to kick it off from the 35-yard line. Taken there by Alain Baudouin. Baudouin tiptoes up the sidelines, loses his footing, and just in time. As there to make the stop was Mark Perrott, but it'll be good field position for the Bishops Gators, who now enjoy a 5-point lead, and Alain Baudouin is hurt.
Number 97, Luke Palan with the tackle. Man down on the field for the Gators.
He's trying to make the cut back inside, and when he falls down, you can see that he gets hurt somehow. It's really hard to tell what happened to him. More it looks like the wind got knocked out of him than anything. But oh, when they go down to the leg, that's not good.
Well, he lost his footing right away on this slick field. And Alain Baudouin's in a great deal of pain. Take a look at that right knee.
Chevrolet Geo dealers invite you to test drive any vehicle from Canada's largest selection of quality cars, light trucks, and vans. The Gators wish to thank Bocage Chevrolet for their support of Canadian University football. Thank you.
A big part of this Bishop's University offense. And more than this football game today, Bishop's major concern is how will he be for the upcoming playoffs. It's 5-0 for the Gators here in Lennoxville.
Wake up, hey Canada, wake up. Today is our McCain Day.
What's the secret of McCain's rich-tasting juice? More oranges. McCain concentrates the juice of more oranges into every can. More than Minute Maid, more than Old South. So you have a special reason to buy McCain.
You bet I do.
It's like an extra squeeze of juice in every glass. So compared to Minute Maid and Old South, you have an extra reason to drink McCain.
You bet I do.
Wake up to McCain.
If that fella looks out his front window, he'll see a football game going on. We're in the townships in Quebec, Lennoxville to be exact, where the Bishop's Gators lead the Concordia Stingers 5-0 as you look across a cornfield that you'll see coming up at halftime as Jamie Bone's Field of Dreams comes to light. And Alain Baudouin has taken off the field. And this is grim news for the Bishop's Gators. Val Amigo will take Baudouin's spot in the lineup. First and 10 now from the 36-yard line for the Bishop's Gators. Murphy throws quickly, complete to Masaki Kono. And Kono is brought down by the linebacker, Pat Gwynn, but that's a matchup they like, the inside receiver on the linebacker.
Yeah, they do like that kind of a matchup, but, you know, unfortunately right now with this field the way it is, it really is becoming an equalizer. You know, Pat Gwynn, the outside linebacker, on a fleet-footed Masaki Kono. Now, I wouldn't be surprised you watch him run out later on in that little shallow and then turn it up the field.
Gain of 3 at 2nd and 7. Murphy had time, gets it away and complete to David Butler. Butler gets dragged down by Gaston Thibodeau, but what a throw by Jim Murphy.
Pretty good protection initially, then Jim Murphy steps up, and Danny Lavalley has him by the grasp. There's no in the grasp rule, of course, in CIU football, and this is a real heads-up play by Jim Murphy going down. Really shows you what a difference it makes when you have a veteran quarterback playing for you. He can come up with those kind of plays because he keeps his poise.
They continue to check the knee of Alain Baudouin on the bench, rather. And we have an injured player on the football field. That is Giovanni Petrella, the nose guard. John to his friends. Seems to be all right.
That's quite a play by the nose tackle. When you think about it, he's actually rushing the quarterback, and then he comes off when the ball is thrown and then runs downfield and makes the tackle. That's a great effort.
That was a gain of 16 yards, so Petrella was a long way from home there. It's a first down for Bishops inside Concordia territory at the 53. It's a reverse. Tom Hart. Stopped up at first by Pat Gwynn and now gets away, and he's finally dragged down by a stack of Concordia tacklers. But give Pat Gwindon credit for coming up to make the initial stop and foiling that reverse.
Fights for tough back to the line of scrimmage. Number 97.
Tommy Hart coming down, looks like he's going to block, and then he takes the reverse.
Second down.
And Pat Gwynn did a nice job, and that's his responsibility. He has check. He's got to check when the ball goes away from him. He just comes across and makes sure that there's nothing like that coming back. And he stayed home and did a great job.
Give Tom Hart credit, too, for running tough inside. There were plenty of linebackers there looking to make the stick.
And if Pat Gwynn is not here, this play is gone a long way. And you can see he holds him up and waits for the rest of his friends to come in and tackle Tom Hart.
2nd and 11. Deep over the middle and complete. Nice catch made by Jonas Raymond, who squeezes it over the middle. He took a tough shot from Mark Fortier, but he hung on. It's another first down for Bishops.
Number 18, Gary Locke, taking him for
Right down the middle, Jonas Raymond making sure the catch going up. Coming down, we saw his brother play earlier, Justin Raymond, who plays quarterback for the McGill Redmen earlier this season.
1st and 10 from the 27. Murphy with the hot hand, one hops this one. He was looking over there for Masaki Kono.
number 2, Masaki Kono. Number 7, Patrick McCullough with the coverage.
Now with 6:02 to play in the second quarter, the Gators can smell the goal line. The incomplete pass brings up a 2nd and 10, Jamie, from the 33. Flags are down. And it's intercepted. Intercepted by Gary Locke. If the flag's against Bishops, the play will stand. Locke's 2nd interception of the football game. And we'll get the call from Ron Paluzzi.
Holding, 69 Bishops, decline, 1st down.
Pat Sheehan said it earlier. The defense for Concordia has done the job.
And this is a nice job by Gary Locke to come back inside and make sure of the catch.
And Spiros Ferraduras got drilled and then cut up and had a few words with the man who nailed him, Mike McCarthy.
Gary Locke's 2nd interception of the day, his 3rd of the season.
1st and 10 from the 18 for Concordia. Now they'll try to get the offense going. They swing it out in the flat. And they get it over there to Uzo Ubani, who gets not much. As a nice defensive play is made by Matt Legg.
And you know what? That kind of play is not going to work against this Bishops Gators football team. Their lateral movement on defense is just too good. You can see they keep Ubani running to the sideline, and Legg's going to come up and make that tackle on you. That's one of the great strengths about Bishop's defense is they have very good athletes playing for them. Matt Legg at a Catholic Central High School in London, Ontario.
A loss of 6 yards, 2nd and 16. Under pressure, Peterkin reverses his field. He's got lots of room. Peterkin puts his head down and gets all the way up to the 25-yard line, but it'll be short of the 1st down. Tom Europe made the stop.
Number 21, Sandy Brennan.
But Peterkin can run.
This is a great move. You can see he cuts back against the flow. Tommy Europe comes up, makes sure that he knows where the 1st down marker is. Now Tommy Europe's got a wrap. It's a pretty good stick, but he's got a wrap.
And that will be a wrap for the Concordia offense for now. Paul Geary comes in to punt once again. He's had a snap go over his head. He's been roughed. He's given up a safety. If we see him throw, he'll have done everything a punter can possibly do. And yes, it's getting nasty. A one-hopper to Geary. Gets a low end-over-end punt. Taken there by Joel Kruzic, and Kruzic gets outside. He's forced out of bounds by Mark Forche, but he's inside Bishop's territory. The Gators have the ball and a chance to score.
I wasn't born with healthy-looking, shiny hair. It didn't always look so healthy until I changed to Pantene Pro V 2-in-1 shampoo plus conditioner. It has a vitamin-rich formula containing provitamin B5 that deeply penetrates your hair from root to tip, improving it, making it healthy-looking and brilliantly shiny.
Pantene Pro V makes your hair look so healthy, it shines.
Try it. You'll notice a difference, too.
It's Edmonton and Calgary coming up next on the CFL Game of the Week here on TSN. 4 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Mountain. And our congratulations to Larry Rickman for some forward thinking. Rickman's game was scheduled for tonight, but of course he doesn't want to conflict with the World Series. So the Eskimos and Stampeders will play in the afternoon, and we'll have it for you live here on TSN. John Wells, Leif Pedersen, and Peter Watts will have all the action for you as we look at the beautiful colors in southern Quebec. A splendid setting, except between the lines. It's turning into a mud bowl. 1st and 10 now from the 49-yard line for the Bishops Gators, who lead 5-0. Jim Murphy has plenty of time. He's looking deep. He's got a man open. David Bishop's Gators. It goes 49 yards. Jim Murphy to David Butler. And they finally hit the home run.
Jim Murphy wants to throw the ball deep. He's been having a little bit of difficulty so far today. Steps up nicely in the pocket. He's looking right down the field. He's got the one-on-one matchup that he wants. Throws the ball nice and high. Rob Schwartz, the outstretched hand, isn't good enough, and Butler comes down with the TD reception.
And on for the convert is Greg Hiscox. It is good. It is now a 12-0 lead for the Bishop's Gators as David Butler gets his third touchdown of the season.
One of the great things about this throw is that Jim Murphy throws the ball before David Butler is by the defensive back. The ball's in the air now, and you see then he passes. It's an old adage in football when you're a defensive back to say if he's even, he's leaving. So you cannot allow him to get that close to you.
David Butler's career really got a boost here at Bishop's. He was a backup quarterback last season, a third-string quarterback. He's now a starting wide receiver. He has the touchdown. I had a chance to have dinner with him and some of his teammates last night. I can tell you one other thing about him. He can eat.
What was that bill again?
Well, we won't want to tell the accounting department about it just yet, but he can put away the groceries. And right away, in this football game, he's put away 7 points for his football team. The Gators lead by a count of 12-0. And the kickoff is taken there by Marco Chamorro. Chamorro fights his way across the 30, but he got belted. There's a little more discussion going on here. Oh, you gotta love a drive like that when you're a quarterback. One play, 49 yards, takes 7 seconds on the clock.
And you know, you can tell by that kickoff that Bishop's had, they've really started to turn it up a notch right now. I mean, they were hustling down the field.
I thought Ian Breck made an interesting point to us. We'll talk about it after this play about getting a team ready for a game like this. It is now 1st and 10 for Concordia from the 26-yard line. 3 minutes to play now in the first half. Peterkin's under pressure and he's going nowhere. Eric Edwards smothers him.
And you know, Bishops are constantly coming with that 6-man rush. It looks like a 40 look up front. They're stacking their linebackers, but they've got 7 defensive backs in the football game. See, both Edwards and Wardrop are coming and putting pressure on Peterkin. He realizes that, hey, I've only got 5 people in there to block 6 people. I'm responsible for one of them.
Well, just to finish the thought, Ian Breck told his football team that, or told us today, that you can't simply go out and give fire and brimstone locker room speeches every week. There comes a time when the players' play has to motivate them. And certainly that seems to be the case here in the second quarter with Bishops. On 2nd and 12, Peterkin over the middle is picked off. Matt Legg. Legg gets away from a couple of tackles all the way down to the 20. Finally ridden out of bounds by Andre Bolduc, and it's all Bishops now.
You want to talk about how pressure affects a quarterback? Just take a look at the kind of pressure Peterkin's under. He has to bail out and throw the ball. Leg comes off, actually, his man, and comes back inside, makes the interception. Pretty good return as well. The referees just missed a face mask right there. That would have been a big break as well for the Bishops Gators, but nevertheless, they've got the ball on the 27-yard line.
Make that the 22. Here's Murphy. Screen pass. Claude Saran. Down across the 10. Tough yards down there before he's finally brought down. And Matt Legg has turned it around for this football team. And they do the tomahawk chop here after they get interceptions. Haven't seen any of that in the last couple weeks, have we? And we might see some more tonight. It's a first down for the Gators. Might be a broken play. Here goes Murphy towards the goal line. Touchdown! Broken play or not, it's 6 for the quarterback, Jim Murphy. In their last 3 offensive plays, the Bishop Gators have scored 2 touchdowns.
Well, Bishop's put number 89, the big inside receiver, Val Amigo, in a fullback. I think that was a broken play. I think Val Amigo might have been carrying the football, or it was option, one or the other, and he didn't have anybody out there to option it to, so Jim Murphy does a smart thing, just puts his head down and gets to the corner of the end zone.
That's what you say.
Nice
Good
run,
job.
buddy.
Hey, listen, hey, rip their heart out. Rip their heart out and jump.
And the word we have here from the Bishop's coaches is that was a called play. So it was not a missed handoff. It was Murphy all the way, and he goes in for the touchdown.
Stop it. That's it. Well done.
Ian Breck telling his quarterback to go out there and rip their heart out. Ooh. I love football talk. And Greg Hiscox comes in for the convert. I guess this would be a nail. It's up and good. It is now 19-0.
19 for the Gators, no score for the Stingers.
The fake inside to Val Amigo, and then Murphy just reads the blocks and gets into the corner of the end zone.
Boy, it really hasn't missed a beat here in Bishop's, the offense, with Silvio Martel gone, the All-Canadian. Jim Murphy steps right in. You saw him talking there to the man under the umbrella. That was Bruce Coulter, the father of Bishop's football. The man who was the coach here for 30 years. There's Bruce there.
And who this field is named after. We are on Coulter Field.
He says he's retired, but it doesn't look like it there, does it?
No, I think he coaches the defense. I think he coaches actually a little bit right now with the offense, and I think he's working with the quarterbacks.
Kickoff is taken there by Chamorro. He pulls his way across the 30 to the 33-yard line, but Concordia is in a deep hole. The Stingers trail 19-0. The drive before this was one play. This one was two. 24 seconds, so it took them a total of 31 seconds to score their first two touchdowns of the ball game. And when they flex their muscles, the Bishop's Gators are formidable indeed. We saw Andy Peterkin pull one out earlier this year against McGill. He'll have to be a magician to do it this afternoon. Draw play. Mastro Domenico gets a couple.
And we heard Pat Sheehan earlier talking about how the offense really wasn't doing very much for Concordia. And Peterkin's got to get it kind of hyped up. They've got to start to be able to establish something in first down. They cannot get in these situations where down in 2nd and 8, 2nd and 9. Because that Bishop's defense, they're just going to come after him with everything they've got.
Peterkin is 3 of 7 passing thus far in the football game. Oh, the ball girl lost her shoe. It's tough footing for everybody out there. Gain was 1, make it 2nd and 9. 1:44 to play and counting in the first half. Peterkin's under pressure. Gets away from Wardrop. Now throwing over the middle, tipped a couple of times, and almost intercepted by Tom Europe on the tip drill.
Knocked away by number 21, Sammy Brennan. And then by number 1, Tom Europe. And then
The first tip, Tommy Europe tips it up. Pretty good job by Andre Bolduc to make sure Tom Europe was down, or that was going to be picked off.
It's 2 and out for the Concordia Stingers, who would like to have scored in that drive, and they would like to have taken some time off the clock. 1:29 to play in the first half. Bishops will get good field position, and you heard Ian Breck moments ago say, tear their hearts out. They may break their hearts this afternoon. Concordia must win this football game to make the playoffs. Matt Lang, who had an interception earlier, fields this punt, gets across midfield. Pushed out of bounds at the 52-yard line, but it'll be great field position as Sean Timmons forced him out of bounds. The Moose is loose. But tonight, we'll look at Game 6 of the World Series. Paul Romanuk, Buck Martinez, and the crew in Atlanta, live 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. We'll get you ready for the World Series tonight from the home of the Chop, Fulton County Stadium in Atlanta.
coaching staff, welcome members from the community as well.
And there's an injured player on the football field.
The principal's dining room.
Getting tougher to see the numbers out there now as everyone's getting a little dirty.
And enjoy your lunch while you discuss Gator football at the Touchdown Club.
The injured ball player is Paul Chesser, the defensive end. It's kind of an interesting bib he's got there. Make that yourself?
It's like somebody just took a pen and wrote the number on there.
First and 10 years from the Stinger 51-yard line.
The bells of St. Mary's are ringing. The Huskies lead Acadia 21-2 in the third quarter. Here it is 19-0 Bishops. The Gators have the ball first and 10 from the 52-yard line. And Murphy wants more now. Almost intercepted. His back on the coverage was Patrick McCullough. Looking for Tom Harton to play, and right away, as Ian Breck said, they're going for the jugular.
Yeah, they're going right after him with a minute and 12 seconds left. They want to try and pump in another touchdown here or at least get a field goal before the end of the half. They don't want to give Concordia any breathing room right now at all. They know that if they win today, they've got a perfect record going into the playoffs next week. Concordia is going to be out of it.
And keeping the ball dry is one of the biggest challenges in this football game today. Second and 10 from the 52. Murphy has time again, deep over the middle. He was looking for Raymond. He's got it. Now it's loose. Recovered there by Masaki Kono. It's Gators' ball just outside the 10. And everything's going Bishop's way now.
They say it's better to be lucky than good, and this time Bishops were actually both here because they throw the ball down the field, almost picked off, and then it gets the rebound. Jonas Raymond, then he gets it knocked away from him, but Masaki Kono comes in number 2 to recover the football.
Claude Seren with the ball, and he gets inside the 10. There's a flag down, and it looks to be against Bishops. 54 seconds to play in the first half.
Holding, Bishop 66. First down repeated.
Mark Hatfield, you get your name on national television. Caught for holding. But Hatfield and the rest of this offensive line have done a great job today. Outstanding protection for Jim Murphy. Now first and 20 from the 23-yard line. And Murphy completes it to David Butler. Butler had a touchdown earlier. Now he's down about the 12-yard line. And Bishop looks for a timeout. As Jim Murphy comes to the bench for some guidance, we might just listen in here.
Second and what?
Second down.
Second and 10. Second and 10.
9 on the play.
There's some 60 stuff. Let's go screen. Okay, well, hang on. Let's just go through our options. We get 60 where we get the ball, we run the dropout on the sideline, or we got to take it down. Okay. Now, hang on. We get the screen. We got Indian again. There's nothing the matter with the Indian. We go 51 dash. Draw scheme.
I think they pick up the draw scheme. I think go Red Ricky instead.
They're looking for that. They're so wide.
Yeah.
So wide. Pick the Indian. There's something that's coming inside. With
Let's do
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please join the Gators this year in their fight on multiple sclerosis. Team will put together a fun poster that can be obtained for $3. All proceeds from the poster go towards MS. Posters available underneath the stands. Thank you for your
The
support.
play that set this up, they needed 20 yards. They come back and get 9 yards on the reception by David Butler.
I can tell you a little bit about Bishop's terminology. You heard him say 51 dash, that's a draw play, but 60 series is rollout by the quarterback.
Right out, yeah.
On second and 10. Murphy slips, gets away. Lots of room to run. And it's a touchdown. A flag is down late, but Murphy is in the end zone. It's holding against Bishops. This will come back. So Murphy gets to the end zone for the second time, but this time it won't count.
Holding, 38 purple. Second down repeated.
And you know, one of the things, Gord, when you're back there, the officials blow the horn, and so Jim Murphy, I'm sure, heard it, realizing that there was holding on the play.
Who's on number 38, Claude Seren. You'll see him at the left side of your picture.
Right there.
Yeah, he got his hands around Gaston Thibodeau.
From the 12-yard line.
And Murphy knew it right away. Back to 2nd and 20. Over the middle for Raymond. Touchdown! Jonas Raymond. A 23-yard touchdown.
12 yards on the catch.
Tear their hearts out. They're breaking Concordia's hearts right now. It's all Gators. The convert will make it 26-0.
The post pattern inside. Jim Murphy throws this as well as anybody does, and that's a great catch by
Greg Heavyfoot Hiscox in the
Jonas Raymond.
Point number 4, Trevor Loving with the hold.
And the fun bunch. Where's Art Monk? Well, a couple of problems there, but Hiscock gets the convert away. Raymond with the touchdown. 23 points in the second quarter. It's 26-0 Bishops. See, when you're a university student, you got to save money on the long-distance phone calls. That's why we're here. And the rain is beginning to fall a little harder here. And I suspect that on one sideline, it feels just a little damper. 31 seconds to play in the first half. Bishop's enjoying a 26-0 lead. Concordia has a long way to go, and they are now staring at the possible end of their season should they lose this game today. Their difficulty has been the offense. The defense just spent too much time on the field in the first half, Jamie. Kick is taken by Rob Schwartz. Schwartz has a seam, gets across the 30 to the 33. Tackled by Tom Europe, who's been all over the field today. And Europe will stay out there for the Bishop's defense, which, as of yet, has not allowed a Concordia point. Jamie, you're the next quarterback. You had a chance to see the first half. If you were quarterbacking Concordia, what would you be looking for?
A lot of help. That's what I would be looking for right now, because pretty tough is the scoring drive. 4 plays, 51 yards, a little bit longer in the scoring drives for Bishops, and a little bit more time, 48 seconds.
Maybe we'll see them hold the ball for more than a minute when they score next time. The draw play. Mastro Domenico. And here's the guys who don't get much credit, but they do all the work.
And they get real dirty doing it, too.
The Piggies.
Second down.
Yeah, still there. It was a gain of about 3. We'll make it 2nd and 7. Now 13 seconds and counting to play in the first half, and Concordia might be content just to go to the dressing room now. Try one over the top. No, they give it on the draw play. And bouncing off tackle was Michael Paul. That will end the first half. It was all Bishops, undefeated and looking to go 7-0. They lead 26-0 at the half.
Kurt Harnett, Canadian Olympic medal winner.
I work hard to be the very best. I train hard every day, and that leaves my hair in a sweaty, tangled mess. That's why I use this, Pert Plus. Sure, I've tried some other 2-in-1s, but for me, Pert Plus is the best.
Pert Plus cleans thoroughly and conditions better than some other 2-in-1s, leaving your hair easier to comb, in control, and looking its best. Pert Plus, a winning combination for great-looking hair.
A Big Mac and a Diet Coke, please.
Get the extra value meal. It's a great deal. Plus, you get fries.
I'll just have some of yours.
No. I ordered fries because I want fries. They're mine, not yours. If you want fries with dinner, get your own.
Mom, could I have some of my fries?
I'll just have some of your father's.
No.
Now, with a Big Mac extra value meal and a kids combo, the whole family can get exactly what they want for dinner.
What you want is what you get.
Free refund? I'll just have some of his.
At McDonald's tonight.
When you're busy being a mom and chauffeur, the last thing you're thinking about is your brakes, right? But if something told you they weren't right, would you know where to go? You don't want to trust them to just anybody, so you go to Midas.
TSN takes you courtside for great NBA exhibition action, featuring the Cleveland Cavaliers and the New Jersey Nets. The Naismith Challenge from the Ottawa Civic Center, live Wednesday, 7:30 Eastern, right here on Real TV, TSN.
We'll send you back to Bishops in just a moment, but first, welcome back to our control center, everyone. I'm Chris Sedens. Let's update the big story in sports today. It is Game 6 of the World Series, the Jays against the Braves, Steve Avery against David Cone.
As Lonnie Smith's slam brought the Braves back from the brink of elimination and into a Game 6, the series now shifts back to Atlanta and the Chop Shop, where the Braves will have 50,000 tomahawk chopping fans behind them, something that doesn't seem to faze the Blue Jays.
With these two ball clubs, there's no such thing as a home field advantage. You know, we play equally well on the road as we do at home, and the Braves are the same way. So, you know, in a series like this, you can throw the home field thing out the window.
Now that the series is back in the National League Park, Dave Winfield will be in right field again for Toronto. That means John Olerud will most likely sit on the bench, with Atlanta throwing left-handers from here on in. The pitching matchup for Game 6 features Toronto's other hired gun, David Cone, looking to clinch Canada's first World Series crown. While the Braves will counter with Steve Avery. He looked very good in Game 3 despite taking the loss. Toronto's counting on getting to Avery like they did to Tom Glavine the second time they faced him.
We have to make the same adjustment we would with Glavine, you know. At least now it's the second time around, even though we won that game, but he's going to be a little more tougher, you know, especially playing at home. So we have to be a little more patient and see what he wants to do.
There's a lot of pitchers sitting at home right now that would change places with me in a heartbeat. You know, I may never ever get this opportunity again the rest of my career, so it's something I'm really looking forward to. I look at it as a tremendous opportunity.
And just to get accustomed to facing the lefties, Pat Gillick was throwing BP on Friday afternoon.
We've always had problems on this club with left-handed pitchers for some reason. It just, I don't know how to explain that, but even back when the Barfields was here and along with Bells, and I think the only time we had a decent time when Cliff Johnson was here, he used to hit left-handers pretty well.
Nonetheless, the Blue Jays head to Atlanta intent on bringing home the franchise's first World Series title.
Following today's university football game, we will take you live to Calgary, where the Eskimos play the Stampeders. Let's take a preview look at that game this afternoon, a 4 o'clock start, live on TSN.
When we beat them down there, then they know what's going to happen in the playoffs, so this is a very important game for us.
You know, 3 games left in the regular season, and we're 4 points behind in the race for first place, so obviously the game is just, it's absolutely crucial. We, not so much because it's Calgary. I mean, you want to establish yourself against the team that you're likely to meet in the playoffs, but more importantly, we want to finish in first place, and we want to finish strong in the last 3 weeks of the regular season, so this game has a lot of importance.
It is the Eskimos against the Stampeders, and this game has been changed to a 4 o'clock start, so it doesn't compete with the World Series. Eskimos against the Stampeders live on TSN. Back to Bishops in a moment.
A Big Mac and a Diet Coke, please.
Get the extra value meal. It's a great deal. Plus you get fries.
I'll just have some of yours.
No. I ordered fries because I want fries. They're mine, not yours. If you want fries with dinner, get your own.
Mom, could I have some of my fries?
I'll just have some of your father's.
No.
Now, with a Big Mac extra value meal and a kid's combo, the whole family can get exactly what they want for dinner.
What you want is what you get.
Free refill? I'll just have some of his.
At McDonald's tonight.
Fill this up, Helen. Guess I've had this old Stanley about 6 years now. Boy, it's been through it. Been dropped, run over, beat up. You name it, it's been through it. There's not another bottle anywhere that can take it like this one. See what I mean?
Available at these participating stores and other leading retailers.
26-0, Bishops leads Concordia after one half of play here in Lennoxville. Bishops University located in this small town in the townships of Quebec, and it can be a little hard to find if you don't know where you're looking. Now, Jamie Bone, you've been here plenty of times. But your alter ego, Jim from Jim's Excellent Adventure, he had some trouble.
Yeah, and he wouldn't listen to me. I said I'd tell him where it was, but he said, no, I'm going to find it on my own. So consequently, he went out and asked people around town.
Now, it's time for Jim's Excellent Adventure, but you might want to be warned here. After watching this, you may feel a little hungry.
Bishop's University is one of the universities in Canada that doesn't tell you where it's located by its name. But we're here in the Eastern Townships, and I need to find directions. Excuse me, can you tell me how to get to Bishop's University?
Yeah. Okay. Okay, you're in Sherbrooke.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you go down to the pub.
Down to the pub.
And you turn left
Yes.
to the cornfield.
And I go through the cornfield.
Yeah, I can drive you there if you want.
Geez, I'm not sure I can afford this drive. I think I better walk.
Yes,
Thank
goodbye.
you. Well, here's the pub. Now to check my map to find out where I've got to go. Oh, no, what have I done with that? I know, I'll just check inside here and I'll get directions. Excuse me, can you tell me how to get to Bishop's?
Bishop's, what you do is you're going to head down past the bridge. Once you get past the bridge, you're going to cut through your cornfield.
No, I'm talking about Bishop's University.
Oh, no, you've got to cut through. You got to cut through the cornfield.
I've got to cut through a cornfield?
To get to the school.
Okay, great, thanks a lot.
Okay, take care.
I know where I'm going now. Man, am I ever going to find this place? Boy, this cornfield is thick.
If you build it, he will come.
Someone there? Who said that?
If you build it, he will come.
Who? Who will come?
Hey, mister, which way to Iowa?
Iowa?
Finding his way through the maze. See, that's the French for corn, see? Your alter ego managed to get here, and this is a unique university in a unique little town.
Oh, it is. It's a great little town, actually. But if he'd have listened to me, he wouldn't have had to go through that cornfield. So, hey, it's his loss.
Oh, I've seen your directions before. We made up driving home from here. It's 26-0. Bishops is leading Concordia. We're back with more in our halftime in just a moment. You're watching CIU football live on TSN.
Check the map.
Cancel that order, guys.
Oh, right. Yeah. Let's eat. You want a Coke? No, make it a Pepsi. Well, what's the diff? I can't believe you said that.
The difference is one tastes better.
This one.
You chose Pepsi.
The majority of soft drink users tested prefer the taste of Pepsi over Coke Classic.
You want sausage or pepperoni?
What's the diff?
Okay, Wendell, let's see what you got. That's unbelievable. It's all on the stick. Should have had these in Montreal.
It's a Sherwood.
Where'd you get it?
It's free with 5 chunky soup labels.
It's free?
Yeah, it's free.
I want everyone here tomorrow with 5 chunky soup labels.
Call now for your free Wendell Clark Sherwood hockey stick.
It's called the Wall of Distinction, and today Bishop's University has 2 new inductees, Jamie.
Well, of course, Bruce Coulter on your left. He's a legendary coach of the Bishop's Gators, and Garth Smith on your right was the basketball coach here at Bishop's University for 25 years. So 2 new people on their Wall of Distinction.
And we saw Bruce Coulter in the first half, still advising some of these Bishop's players. He must have liked what he saw in the first half.
Yeah,
here.
I think he had to like what he saw. Initially, Bishop's got off a little bit slow, but they seemed to get their offense in track in the second quarter. And of course, it was because of Jim Murphy. And Jim Murphy is one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. And we're going to show you why, because he can hit receivers all over the field. First pass is a long pass at David Butler. Jim Murphy looks back, semi-roll, sets up, steps up nicely into the pocket. Then he sees David Butler and throws a long pass. Butler gets behind number 5, Rob Schwartz. And he comes down for Bishop's first touchdown.
That was a one-play drive. It traveled 49 yards, and it gave Bishops its first touchdown. Then an interception gave the Gators the ball right back, and it didn't take long.
No, it didn't take long at all. They got down close to the goal line, and they put in number 89, Val Amigo, the big inside receiver at fullback. They faked the dive to Amigo, then Jim Murphy runs outside, seeing that he's got room to get into the corner of the end zone, puts his head down, and just gets in. That gives Bishops their second touchdown and a big lead.
Gee, that one covered all of 2 plays. 24 seconds as Murphy got the touchdown, and then late in the first half, they strike for the hat trick.
Well, that's one thing about Bishops. They strike you all sorts of different ways, and of course, Jim Murphy once again throws the post down the field to Jonas Raymond, and he makes a great over-the-shoulder catch and gets into the end zone as he beat Gary Locke, number 23, for a 23-yard touchdown.
And they're loving it here in Bishops, and one member of this crew was popular here last night because I picked Bishops to win the Vanier Cup. And in our student announcer competition, both Jamie and I got a very warm reception from the fans. And here's how it looked last night at a place called the Quiet Bar here on the Bishops campus.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Coulter Field in Lennoxville. I'm Jeremy Moore. I'll be taking you through the pre-game analysis. Today's matchups featuring the visiting Concordia Stingers fighting for their life. Depending on what happened last night in Ottawa between the Queens Golden Gales, if the Queens beat Ottawa, they're out.
Bishops University has a wicked women's soccer team. They are in their first year, and they're doing pretty well. You know, they've won, they've gotten a couple of goals, maybe 2 or 3 goals this season. Woo! And we're very proud of this Bishops soccer team. Tomorrow there is a game, 1 o'clock, just beside the Gators football field. Now, while we're on the topics of Gators football, I guess it can't be avoided at this school because the Gators football team is quite a team.
Okay, today I'm going to talk about CFL expansion. First of all, I think the CFL expansion is a great idea, but not in the USA, and I'll tell you why. Larry Smith, I know you're watching because you went to Bishops, you were a Gator once. But the reason is because down in the States, they're used to the Eagles, the Cowboys, Randall Cunningham, Troy Aikman, not Hamilton, not Ottawa.
Bishops University is situated in Lennoxville, Quebec, which is the Bishops Field of Dreams. The Bishops Field of Dreams is made up of dreams of the Bishops Gators. The Bishops Gators are looking for Vanier 92 this year. This year the team has started off to a great start with 4 members, 4 games that they got real points, 49-6 in the average score of the first 4 games. They've gone downhill from there after Claude Seren took himself out with a Charlie horse, but he's a real man and he's back playing this game.
Raise the toast to Bishops University on the high.
Yeah, they're not quite as enthusiastic today as they were last night. Disdain in the rain, especially for Concordia fans. It's Bishops leading 26-0, and our apologies to our student announcer, Bill Starr, not Bill Sharp. What, were you out putting out fires here? You got the nice rain suit on.
Well, it's a nice day here in Lennoxville. It's the first time it's rained all season. You guys have to show up today.
Tell us a little bit what you thought about the first half.
The offensive line is giving Jim Murphy a lot of time. If you got that much time to play, the receivers are going to get open, and they've been getting open, and Jim's been getting them the ball.
This field could be a mess for the playoff drive. Is that a concern for Bishops fans?
Well, a few years back, we had to go play in Molson Stadium, but today, but just hope it doesn't freeze. That's the big problem. If it does freeze, we're in for a lot of trouble in this field.
You're not the only one hoping it doesn't freeze. Right now, it's 26-0 Bishops. We'll be back with the second half when we return.
Kurt Harnett, Canadian Olympic medal winner.
I work hard to be the very best. I train hard every day, and that leaves my hair in a sweaty, tangled mess. That's why I use this, Pert Plus. Sure, I've tried some other 2-in-1s, but for me, Pert Plus is the best.
Pert Plus cleans thoroughly and conditions better than some other 2-in-1s, leaving your hair easier to comb, in control, and looking its best. Pert Plus, a winning combination for great-looking hair.
Hi, I'm Jack LaLanne, and I've developed a better way to get in shape. It's my new Jack LaLanne stepper, and it's guaranteed to strengthen firm and tone your body into shape faster than ever. It's sensational. Look, my stepper has been designed to target the muscles in your hips and buttocks, thighs and calves, so every step is more effective. Burn body fat faster, lose calories, and develop firm, shapely muscles with one incredible exercise machine. Best of all, my stepper is so simple to use. Simply adjust the dial to your fitness level. Increase the stair height for an intense workout. Get the maximum workout in minimum time. Now through Telebrand, you can own the Jack LaLanne stepper for only 3 easy payments of $29.95. And if you order now, I'll also include this special instructional video that's a $20 value, absolutely free. You know, there is a better way. The Jack LaLanne stepper.
Call 1-800-543-9997. 3 payments of $29.95 or send $89.85 plus $9.95 shipping. Sorry, no CODs accepted.
Midas will look at your brakes 49 different ways, free. Then we'll give you a guaranteed estimate and a certified brake specialist to fix them right. The free 49-point brake inspection. 49 reasons to trust your brakes to Midas.
Sure, your old gas furnace still works, but with energy savings of up to 40%, the Lennox Pulse 21 gas furnace makes saying goodbye a lot easier. Because when energy savings a must be a Lennox.
After one half of play, as you might expect, the Bishop's Gators have a wide advantage. Look at the passing yards, 223, Jamie, to 14.
And I tell you what, if Concordia have any hope at all of getting back in this football game, that's that 14 yards passing for Concordia. You're going to have to maybe put a 0 on one end. You're going to have a 2 on the front end because they're not going to do it getting that kind of yardage.
2,140 yards passing? That would be a lot.
I mean, 240 yards, Gordo. You know what I meant. Jim Murphy having a great day, 13-25. Got off to a little bit of a shaky start in the first quarter, but settled down in the second quarter, and what a second quarter he had. Putting up some pretty impressive numbers. Many people think he may be the best quarterback in the CIAU.
Well, he's certainly put up great numbers today, and we'll see some pretty impressive quarterbacks later on this afternoon. Edmonton's Tracy Ham, Calgary's Doug Flutie scoring off 4 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Mountain. Note the change in the start time. It's been moved up to avoid conflicting with the World Series. But this is a showdown for first place in the Western Division of the CFL. John Wells, Leif Pedersen, and Peter Watts will have all the action for you from McMahon Stadium. And later on tonight, baseball tonight, the World Series. Paul Romanuk previews Game 6. Buck Martinez will be in Atlanta with the TSN crew, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Mountain Time. And if the Blue Jays clinch tonight, we will have a special following the baseball game. As long as it takes, we'll have reaction from coast to coast, from Atlanta, Toronto, on what the Toronto Blue Jays hope is a night of celebration as they play Game 6 against the Braves in Atlanta. So a big day of sports here on TSN. We've got a second half to come your way here from Lennoxville, and then it's off to Calgary.
Andy Peterkin had a rough first half, and Gord, I'll tell you what I think Concordia are going to have to do in the second half. Bishops are lining up in a 4-4 alignment, 2 linebackers inside. I think they've got to get Peterkin outside because they can seal the corner and get him outside, give him the option of passing or running the football, because Bishops like to play a lot of man coverage in their secondary. So if he can get outside and they're in man, he can take off with the ball and gain some yardage.
Peterkin has been elusive in the first half, but he hasn't run for the kind of yardage that we saw him run for against McGill about 4 weeks ago.
And I think one of the reasons why is because he's getting basically into a drop back pass set, and you're getting the linebackers, Edwards and Wardrop, coming in hard on the blitz.
And Bill Starr, our student announcer, is with us. Where do you get those tattoos, Bill?
Sir,
where do you get those tattoos?
We sell them at the student building there, and everybody seems to like them. They're a lot of Gator pride.
Jamie, I'm fully expecting that you will have one of those on your forehead for the flight home.
Now listen, Gord, you were supposed to wear one last night and you kind of wimped out on everybody, so hey, I think you're the guy who picked Bishops to win it all, so.
Looks good today, doesn't it, though?
Well, as they say, it's early. There's a long way to go for everybody that has a Vanier Cup dream right now. The playoffs in most conferences begin next week. Right now, we know only in the Quebec Conference that Bishops will be at home. And here's the kickoff. Taken by Marco Chamorro. Chamorro gets some yards all the way up across the 40 to the 45-yard line. He's brought down by Walter Willett. And that's where Concordia will begin this second half. Bill, what's the rivalry like between Concordia and Bishops?
Well, Gord, as you can see, there's a lot of taunting going on down at the field. These teams do not like each other. Jim Murphy's coming along, and he's upped his game up a notch, and he's playing hard, and I think that's to Concordia's disadvantage.
Concordia has won in its last 3 appearances here in Lennoxville, but the Stingers have a long way to go right now, trailing 26-0. First play of the second half. Inside it goes to Dio Mastro Domenico, and he was popped.
Can't be too happy about that one.
I mean, Don Simpson came up and laid him out.
And he hit him right in the small of the back as Master Domenico was spinning around.
And if you want to know what football's like, have a listen to this. Might have caught him in the kidney. Don Simpson with a reputation for being the hardest hitter on this football team, and he certainly lived up to it there as he drilled Dio Mastro Domenico, who's no shrinking violet himself.
He's one of the smallest guys on the Gators, Don Simpson is, and he plays big.
Master Domenico outweighs him by 240 pounds, but it really wasn't the size, it was where he hit him. And Master Domenico is no stranger to people around this place because he did attend Champlain College.
Master Domenico continues to receive attention right at the midfield stripe. He did pick up a first down on the play. So as he receives attention, we'll take a break and return to Lennoxville, where the hometown Bishops Gators lead 26-0.
Rocket Fuel.
Play Rocket Fuel Touchdown, and you could win up to $25,000.
All right. I'm going to take that line down, are you?
Dio Mastro Domenico gets some attention and should be all right after getting drilled in the last play by Don Simpson. It was a first down for Concordia.
Be a towel, man.
The Stingers will scrimmage the ball 1st and 10 from their own 53-yard line. Just underway here in the second half. And the football is loose. Recovered by Concordia. The give went to Kevin Norris. He lost the football almost immediately, but jumping on it was offensive lineman Andrew Filosa.
Gain of 1 on the play, second down.
Slick conditions here in Lennoxville. We've seen some turnovers, but that's the first fumble. We've seen plenty of interceptions thus far. We got about a yard and a half. We'll call it 2nd and 9. From the midfield stripe. Peterkin rolls out, throws it out there for Eric McClellan, but McClellan can't squeeze it. It'll be 3rd and 9. We've talked a lot, Bill, about this impressive Bishops offense, but the defense has really got the job done today.
Yeah, they're the surprise this year. They've come up, it's a big play defense. They come big for the Bishops Gators, and as you can see there on the line, they're pressuring the quarterback. He's having to roll out of the pocket, and you can't pass people when you're on the run.
Got to ask you this, though. Bishops has never been to the Vanier Cup, and there's a history here of having problems in November. Is that over?
Well, I think Jim Murphy's going to be the one that's going to win the big game for us this year. He's got the right attitude, and it's a quiet confidence for the Gators this year. They know what they have to do, and they're gearing up for the playoffs.
Matt Legg with a punt return gets it up close to the 25 and the 24-yard line. The Gators will start there to begin the second half. But it's Jamie and I were talking about in the first half, with the kind of weather you're going to see in November. And you certainly saw it here last year when Queens played Bishops in one of the messiest games we've ever seen. That it can be hard to throw the ball when the wind starts blowing, the field gets soggy, and the snow begins to drift down.
It's good to see Bishops using their running game.
And they've done it impressively here in the first half. 1st and 10 from the 23, and they open the second half with a running play. And sticking his head down was Claude Saran, who ran right over Patrick McCullough. Close to a first down.
This is a nice job. Take a look at the left. You see that number 69, Steve Boje, he peels around Mark Hadfield, who blocks inside. Then Claude Serene takes the football and goes right up the field. These are big holes that the Bishop's offensive line are starting to open up. Pretty good contact as well. Gets his shoulders low and gets up the field.
We mentioned earlier, Claude Serene has missed much of this season with a Charlie horse. He's back in the lineup just in time. The playoffs begin next week.
They're all day, coach. One out.
It was a first down. Throwing over the middle, he was looking there for Tom Hart. The ball bounced loose, but it'll fall incomplete. Spiros Faradouris is there to make the play.
You see the kind of difficulty. Even as a quarterback, when you're back and the field is slick, it's really tough to get your feet underneath. You have a tendency to slide when you take your step towards a receiver.
Bill Starr, let me ask you this. Did anyone expect that Jim Murphy would be able to do the kind of job he's done, taking over from Silvio Martel?
Well, when we played Saskatchewan in the Churchill Bowl a couple years ago, Jim came through. He was able to move the team, and he showed a lot of confidence on the team back then. This year, he's just shown that he's the starting quarterback. He's the one that's going to do the job.
Now on 2nd and 10, Murphy flushed out of the pocket. Over the middle, he's got it to Tom Hart. And Hart safe at midfield with the sliding catch. Otis Nixon would be proud of that. And Ian Brecht told his team late in the first half, tear their hearts out. They're doing it here.
Certainly are. Silvio Martel finding Tom Hart. You know, these two guys are on the same page. Tom Hart is the KG veteran, and you know, I've seen him do that so many times when it looks like there's no receivers open. Tom Hart always seems to come open over the middle.
It's another first down, this time from the 49-yard line. Murphy gives off to Claude Serene. Serene gets maybe a couple. And this Concordia defense, which really did the job in the first quarter, must now buckle down and stop Bishops. But in the Stingers' defense, the Concordia defense spent an awful lot of time on the football field in the first quarter and a half.
Yeah, no question. I mean, this is not a bad group at all, and I think even Pat Sheehan, their head coach, said so. He said the defense is doing the job. The offense has got to get something going because you can't leave these guys out on the field for 45 minutes in a 60-minute game, and that's what's happening. That's what's happening.
2nd and 7. Flag is down. Murphy runs for the first down, but this is likely coming back as Murphy gets outside. All the way down inside the 30 to the 27-yard line, but you heard the horn sound. It's holding against Bishops. Second time a big run by Murphy has been brought back by a penalty in this football game. Is Murphy known as a good running quarterback, Bill?
Murphy goes all out. He's one of the best quarterbacks I've ever seen. He puts his head down and goes right into the defensive. As you saw in the first half, he ran right over to get in the end zone, and that's the way he runs. He runs hard and he runs fast.
You know, I think what Bill's saying there, Gord, that it would have to be a bit of a concern to Ian Brecht. I mean, when you're running down the field and you've got 40 yards, what difference does it make whether you get 41 or 40? You should be wise and maybe step out of bounds, because I think for Bishops to go on further and win playoff games, Jim Murphy's going to have to be healthy.
Oh, sure. Step out of the sidelines, eh, Jamie?
I'm speaking from a coach's standpoint, Gordo.
Yeah, sure. 2nd and 17. Murphy will work from the shotgun for the first time this afternoon. And he'll run it again, but he won't get nearly as far as coming in high was linebacker Gaston Thibodeau. And the nose guard, Giovanni Petrella, was also in there. This guy's been all over the field. Plays like a linebacker. So the Concordia defense gets the job done. Craig Hiscox is in the punt. And Concordia will get the ball back. We'll see what the Stingers can do with it.
Come on, let's go!
9.5 minutes to play here in the third quarter as Greg Hiscox prepares to punt for the Bishops University Gators, looking to finish the regular season at 7-0. High, wobbly punt heading towards the sidelines, taken by Rob Schwartz. Schwartz got hit immediately. That'll be no yards. And then he got tripped up. Ty Bjorn got in there to make the stop. But a flag is down. Stay tuned at the conclusion of today's game for the TSN Turning Point, brought to you by Sony.
With brighter colors and sharper contrast, Sony Trinitron's exclusive one-gun picture tube catches all the action. Sony, the best picture on the mound.
Might be just the break Concordia needed. A no-yards call gives the Stingers first down inside Bishop's territory at the 48-yard line. And that's where Andy Peterkin in the offense will scrimmage. Peterkin has time, looking deep, has a man, but it's knocked away. What an outstanding defensive play that was by Martin Pepe. Knocking it away at the last second as the pass was intended for Eric McClellan, who was open.
Post pattern by Eric McClellan, but you see the ball is thrown a little bit behind. He should have let him a little bit more in front. Martin Pepe comes in and knocks the ball away.
Now 2nd and 10 from the 48. And Peterkin's passing woes continue. Here comes the blitz. Peterkin gets it outside for a first down. And now with room to run is Eric McClellan. And McClellan gets all the way down to about the 30-yard line before he's tackled there by Sam Brennan.
That was a nice move McClellan made on Martin Pepin, who just made the great play prior to knocking the ball away. Just catching the sideline route and then spinning back inside.
It was a gain of 13 yards. 1st and 10 Concordia from the Bishop's 31-yard line. Draw play, Mastro Domenico, and he's got room to run. Puts his head down this time and gets some revenge on Don Simpson, the man who put him out of the game last time. But that time, Mastro Domenico put his head down and ran over Simpson.
Number 18, Don Simpson.
Where are we?
Some scores to tell you about in the CIU today. St. Mary's continues to lead Acadia 21-2 with play in the 3rd quarter.